"We have all decided you don't live here anymore," my mom said. My 4-year-old daughter was standing right there. She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just picked up my phone and sent one text. When they saw what I'd written, they went pale. And what happened next? They deserved every second of it. It started on a Tuesday. Normal Tuesday. Nothing special. I was folding laundry in my room when I heard the front door open. Voices, lots of them. My mom, my dad, my older brother Derek, and his wife Vanessa. I didn't think much of it. We all lived in the same house. Well, technically it was my parents' house, but I'd been living there for 2 years with my daughter, Emma. Let me back up for a second. You need to understand how I ended up there. 2 years ago, my husband left. Just left. Came home one day. Owa said he wasn't happy and walked out. Emma was barely 2. I was working part-time, trying to keep it together. And suddenly, I was doing it all alone. My parents said, "Come home. We'll help you get back on your feet." It sounded like love. It sounded like family. So I moved in, packed up my tiny apartment, and came back to the house I grew up in. At first, it was fine. My mom watched Emma while I worked. My dad helped with bills. It felt like support, but then things started to shift. Little comments. "You're still here? When are you getting your own place? Emma's toys are everywhere." Vanessa, Derek's wife, was the worst. Always making these passive-aggressive remarks like, "Must be nice not paying rent." I was paying rent. Not a lot, but I was contributing. I bought groceries. I paid utilities. I wasn't freeloading, but they treated me like I was. Anyway, back to that Tuesday. I came downstairs holding a basket of clothes. Emma was playing with her dolls in the living room, humming some song from her favorite cartoon. The second I walked in, everyone went quiet. That kind of quiet that makes your stomach drop. The kind that says, "We've been talking about you." "Sit down," my mom said. Not, "Hey, sweetie, not got a minute, just sit down." Like I was about to get fired from being their daughter. I sat on the edge of the couch. Emma looked up from her toys, confused. She could feel it. Kids always can. My mom folded her hands like she was in a business meeting. "We've been talking," she said, "and we've all decided you don't live here anymore." I blinked. "What?" Derek jumped in, arms crossed, looking all self-righteous. "You've been here 2 years, Jess. Sure, 2 years. You're 28. You need to figure your life out." Vanessa nodded like she'd been waiting her whole life to agree with him. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. Her smug little smile said everything. I looked at my dad. He wouldn't look at me. Just stared at the floor like it was the most interesting floor he'd ever seen. "You're kicking me out?" I said slowly, trying to keep my voice steady, trying not to let them see me break. "We're helping you grow up," my mom said like she was doing me a favor, like she was some kind of life coach. "You can't depend on us forever." Emma's little voice cut through the room. "Mama, what's wrong?" I looked at her, my sweet tiny 4-year-old. Her big brown eyes were filled with tears. She didn't understand the words, but she could feel the tension, and she could feel that something bad was happening. "Nothing, baby," I said softly, forcing a smile. "Keep playing, okay?" She nodded, but she didn't look away. She just sat there clutching her doll, watching me. I turned back to my mom. "Where am I supposed to go?" Derek shrugged. Actually shrugged. "That's not our problem. You're an adult. Figure it out." Vanessa leaned back in her chair, arms crossed, looking satisfied, like she'd won something. "You have 2 weeks," my mom said. "Final, cold, done. 2 weeks to find a place to pack up my life, to uproot my daughter. 2 weeks. I sat there for a second just processing. My brain was screaming, my chest was tight. But I didn't cry. Not yet. Not in front of them. I stood up, walked to my room, closed the door, sat on the edge of my bed, and then I cried. Not the loud kind. The silent kind. The kind where you can't breathe and your chest feels like it's caving in. The kind where you press your hands over your mouth so no one hears you. Emma came in a few minutes later, climbed onto the bed, put her little hand on my arm. "Mama, why are you sad?" I pulled her into my lap, held her tight. "I'm okay, baby. I promise we're going to be okay." She hugged me, tiny arms around my neck, and in that moment something clicked in my brain. A memory. A very important memory. 3 years ago, my parents bought this house. It was their dream house. Bigger than the old one, better neighborhood. But there was a problem. They couldn't afford it on their own. The bank wanted more income, more stability. So, guess who co-signed the mortgage? Me. I was 25, working 2 jobs, and they needed my income to qualify. I put my name on that loan because they said, "We're family. We help each other. This is for all of us." I signed those papers. I tied my credit to their dream. And now they were kicking me out of it. Funny how family works, right? I put Emma to bed that night, read her 3 stories, sang her favorite song, kissed her forehead, and when she finally fell asleep, I grabbed my phone. I opened my email, scrolled back 3 years, found the mortgage documents, read through them, and there it was. My name right there, cosigner. I took a screenshot. Then I opened a text to my mom. I didn't write a paragraph. I didn't explain. I kept it simple. Just so we're clear. My name is on the house. If I don't live here anymore, I'm calling the bank tomorrow to remove myself from the mortgage. Let's see how that works out for you. I hit send. Then I turned my phone off and I went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up to pounding on my door. Not knocking, pounding. "Jessica, open this door right now." It was my mom and she sounded panicked. I took my time, got dressed, brushed my teeth, and made myself a cup of coffee. Then I opened the door. She was standing there in her bathrobe, hair a mess, eyes wide like she'd seen a ghost. "You can't do that," she said. "No, good morning." "No, let's talk. Just, you can't do that." I sipped my coffee. "Do what? Take your name off the mortgage? You'll ruin us." I tilted my head. "But I'm an adult, right? I need to figure my life out. So, I'm figuring it out without you." Her face went red. "You're being spiteful." "No, I said calm as anything. I'm being smart. You told me I don't live here, so I'm protecting my credit. That's what adults do, right?" And she opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "You don't understand what this will do." "Oh, I understand perfectly," I said. "Without my name, you'll have to refinance. And without my income, you won't qualify, which means you'll lose the house." She stared at me. "You wouldn't." I looked her dead in the eye. "Try me." She turned and stormed back downstairs. I heard voices, loud ones. Derrick yelling, Vanessa's high-pitched panic. My dad finally speaking, saying something I couldn't quite hear. An hour later, they all came back. My mom, my dad, Derrick, Vanessa, all 4 of them standing in my doorway like a sad little committee. "We were hasty," my dad said. "Classic. Never." We were wrong. Just hasty. "You can stay," my mom added quickly, like she was offering me a gift. "As long as you need." We didn't mean, "Yes, you did," I cut in. "You meant every word." Derrick tried to step in. "Look, we all just need to calm down." "No," I said, and my voice was so calm, it scared even me. "I'm not calming down. I'm moving out, but on my terms." My mom's eyes went wide. "You don't have to." "I do," I said. Because you made my daughter feel unwanted. You looked at her and decided she was a burden, and I will never ever forgive you for that." Vanessa scoffed. Actually scoffed. Like this whole situation was beneath her. "Oh, please," she said, flipping her hair back with that gesture she did when she thought she was winning an argument. "This is so dramatic. You're making a mountain out of nothing, Jessica. You always do this." I turned to her slowly, deliberately. My hands weren't shaking anymore. Something had shifted inside me. A switch had flipped. "Nothing?" I said, and my voice was ice. "You think humiliating me in front of my 4-year-old child is nothing?" "Nobody humiliated you," she shot back, crossing her arms over her designer blouse. The one she bought with money she didn't have. "We were just being honest. Finally. Someone needed to say it. You've been mooching off them for years." And there it was. The real Vanessa. Not the fake sweet one she played at family dinners when she needed something. Not the concerned sister-in-law act she put on at holidays. This was the woman who'd been whispering poison in my mother's ear for months. The one who'd been working to turn my family against me bit by bit, comment by comment. "Mooching?" I said, and I could hear my voice getting louder. I didn't care anymore. Let the neighbors hear. Let the whole world hear. "I pay rent. Every single month. $500. I buy groceries. I just spent $300 last week filling the fridge and pantry. I clean this entire house. Who do you think vacuums? Who does the dishes? Who scrubs the bathrooms? Because it's certainly not you sitting on your backside scrolling through Instagram all day shopping for things you can't afford." "That's enough," my mom snapped, her voice sharp. "No," I said, and I was on my feet now. "It's not nearly enough. You want to know what's funny? What's actually hilarious? I've been keeping track. Every single receipt, every single payment. Because I had a feeling something like this might happen." I pulled out my phone with hands that were steady now, opened my notes app. The one I'd been updating religiously for 2 years. "In the past 2 years, I've paid you $12,000 in rent. That's $600 a month, every month, never late. I've spent another $8,000 on groceries, utilities, household expenses, repairs. Remember when the washing machine broke? I paid for that. Remember when we needed a new water heater? I paid half of that. That's $20,000 over 2 years. $20,000. I looked around the room. My mother wouldn't meet my eyes. My father was still staring at that fascinating floor. Derek's jaw was clenched. Vanessa's smug expression was starting to crack. "So here's my question," I continued. "How much has Derek contributed? How much, Mom? How much has your golden boy paid you in rent?" The room went silent. Not the comfortable silence of a family gathering. The thick, suffocating silence of truths nobody wants to speak. "How much, Mom?" I repeated. Louder this time. My dad finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "That's not the point, Jessica." "That is the point," I said. "That's the entire point. Because I couldn't sleep last night. After you told me I needed to leave, after you humiliated me, after you made my daughter feel unwanted. So I did some research. I checked the county records. Public information, available to anyone who knows where to look. You know what I found?" I watched their faces. Derek had gone pale. Vanessa's perfectly made-up face was frozen. I found that Derek and Vanessa have been late on their car payments 4 times this year. Not once. Not twice. 4 times. Their credit cards are maxed out. All 5 of them. And that brand new Silverado in the driveway? The one with the custom rims and the lift kit? They're 3 payments behind on that too. You had no right, Derek started. Public records, I cut him off. Anyone can look. I also found something else, something really interesting. Mom, Dad, want to tell everyone where Derek and Vanessa's rent money has been going? My mother's face went white as a sheet. No. Okay, I'll tell them. You've been giving them money. My rent money. The money I give you every month to help support my daughter. You've been taking that money and handing it to Derek so he can keep up appearances, so he can pretend he's successful, so Vanessa can buy her designer purses and get her nails done every 2 weeks. That's not... My mom tried to protest. I saw the bank statements, Mom. Dad left his email open on the family computer. You've been transferring them money every single month. $3,000 just last month alone. For what? To cover the lease on Vanessa's BMW? The one she absolutely had to have even though a perfectly good Honda would cost half as much? Vanessa's face flushed red. How dare you? How dare I? I laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. How dare I speak the truth? How dare I point out that while I've been working my tail off, paying my bills, contributing to this household, you two have been living above your means and letting my parents bail you out? Using my money to do it? You don't understand our situation, Derek said, and there was an edge of desperation in his voice now. Oh, I understand perfectly, I said. Want to know what else I found? The reason you needed me to co-sign wasn't just about income. That's what you told me, right? That the bank wanted more income to qualify for the loan? That was a lie. The room was so quiet you could hear the clock ticking on the wall. The real reason you needed me, I continued, looking directly at my parents, was because Derek's bankruptcy from 5 years ago tanked your credit score. Because you co-signed for his business opportunity. The one that failed spectacularly, the one that lost over $100,000. My dad's head snapped up. My mom gasped. You didn't think I'd find out about that, did you? I said. Bankruptcy filings are public too. Derek Reynolds filed for bankruptcy 5 years ago. Chapter 7. Debts totaling $147,000, and who co-signed for the business loan that made up most of that debt? That's right, Mom and Dad. Derek was on his feet now. That business would have worked if what? I demanded. If you'd had any business sense? If you'd bothered to do market research? If you hadn't spent the capital on a fancy office and expensive equipment before you had a single client? You don't know what you're talking about, he said, but his voice wavered. I read the bankruptcy filing, Derek. Every page, every creditor, every debt. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I know that when you filed bankruptcy, it destroyed Mom and Dad's credit, which is why they couldn't qualify for this house on their own, which is why they needed me. They used me to clean up your mess. I turned to my parents, and then, when I needed help, when my husband walked out, when I was struggling, when I had a 2-year-old daughter and nowhere to go, you helped me, but not really. You let me move in, but you resented me for it, because I reminded you that you couldn't help me the way you wanted to, because you'd already given everything to Derek. Tears were streaming down my mother's face now. So let me get this straight, I said, and my voice was steady as stone now. Every word deliberate, every sentence calculated. I bailed you out of Derek's mess by co-signing. I've been paying rent while he pays nothing. I've been contributing to this household while he drains it. I've been responsible. I've been reliable. I've been the good daughter. And your solution to your financial problems is to kick me out? Vanessa's smug expression was completely gone now. She looked at Derek, and for the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. Real fear. Because she was realizing what I already knew. They needed me more than I needed them. "Here's what's going to happen," I said, and I wasn't asking. I was telling. "I'm going to move out. But not because you're kicking me out. Because I choose to leave. I choose to protect my daughter from this toxicity. But first, I'm going to the bank. I'm going to show them that I'm no longer residing here, which means I shouldn't be on the mortgage. They're going to require you to refinance within 30 days. "We can't refinance," my dad said quietly, and he finally looked at me. Really looked at me. There was something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Fear. "Not without your income. The bank already told us that last year when we tried to lower our interest rate." "I know," I said, "which means you'll have to sell. And when you do, guess what? As a co-signer who's been making payments and living at the property, I'm entitled to my share of the equity. That's the law. I checked." My mom sank into a chair like her legs had given out. "You'd really do this to us? You'd really take our home?" "You did it to yourselves," I said, and I felt no guilt, no remorse, only clarity. "You chose Derek. You've always chosen Derek. Since we were kids, he was the golden child. He could do no wrong, and I was just there, the backup plan, the reliable one, the one you could count on to clean up his messes." "That's not true," my mom whispered. "Really? When Derek dropped out of college his junior year, who did you support? Him. When he wanted to start a business with zero experience, who did you fund? Him. When that business failed catastrophically, who did you protect? Him. When he filed for bankruptcy, who took the credit hit? You did. For him. When he moved in here rent-free, who did you accommodate? Him. When Vanessa wanted to redecorate the house with money you didn't have, who did you allow to put it all on credit cards? Them." I took a breath. "And when I came to you, broken and scared and needing help, you let me stay. But you also let Derek and Vanessa poison you against me. You let them make you believe I was taking advantage. You let them convince you that I was the problem, when I was the only one actually contributing." Before anyone could respond, my phone rang. The ringtone cut through the tension like a knife. I didn't recognize the number, but something told me to answer it. "Hello? Is this Jessica Reynolds?" a professional female voice asked. "Yes, this is she." "Hi, Jessica. This is Patricia Chen from First National Bank. I'm calling from our fraud prevention department. We received a concerning application this morning regarding the property at 847 Maple Drive. Do you have a moment to discuss your co-signer status?" I looked at my family. They were all staring at me. Derek had gone from pale to green. "Actually," I said into the phone, keeping my eyes locked on Derek, "I have all the time in the world." I walked into my bedroom and closed the door behind me, but not before I saw the panic spread across Derek's face. Patricia Chen was professional, but clearly concerned. She explained that she'd been reviewing the morning's loan applications and noticed some irregularities with our property. Apparently, someone had submitted an application for a home equity line of credit, $50,000, using the house as collateral. Without my knowledge. Without my signature. My hands went cold. "Who requested it?" I asked, though I already knew. I needed to hear it said out loud. "A Derek Reynolds. He claimed to have power of attorney to act on behalf of all parties on the mortgage. We have a signed document stating such, but when I ran a background check as part of our fraud prevention protocols, I couldn't find any registered power of attorney in the county records. That's a red flag for us." My blood ran cold. He'd forged documents. He'd actually forged legal documents. "He absolutely does not have power of attorney," I said, my voice shaking. Not with fear, with rage. "I never authorized any additional loans against this property. I never signed anything giving him authority over my finances. That's what I suspected, Patricia said, which is why I'm calling. This would constitute fraud and identity theft. We've denied the application and flagged the account for suspected fraud. I wanted to make sure you were aware and to ask if you'd like to file a formal complaint. Yes, I said immediately. Absolutely yes. I want that on record. I'll start the paperwork on our end. I'd also recommend filing a police report. This is a serious crime. He forged your signature and attempted to take out a loan in your name. That's a felony. A felony. Derek had committed a felony against his own sister. I thanked Patricia, told her I'd be in touch, and hung up. For a moment, I just sat there on my bed, staring at the wall. Emma's drawings were taped up everywhere. Her colorful artwork, her innocent depictions of our family, stick figures holding hands, a house with a big sun. My family, written in her careful 4-year-old handwriting. Derek had tried to steal from us, from Emma, his own niece. I stood up, opened my bedroom door, and walked back into the living room. Everyone was exactly where I'd left them, frozen, waiting. Derek, I said quietly, too quietly. Did you try to take out a home equity loan on this house? The color drained from his face completely. He looked like he might throw up. How could you possibly know that? Vanessa whispered, and her voice was barely audible. That was the bank, I said, and every word was ice. First National, Fraud Prevention Department. They flagged your application. Derek, because it is fraud. You forged my signature. You claim to have power of attorney. You tried to take out $50,000 using my name and my credit. That's identity theft. That's forgery. That's fraud. That's a felony. Multiple felonies, actually. My mom stood up, her hand over her mouth. Jessica, I'm sure there's an explanation. The explanation, I said, cutting her off, is that your son is a criminal. He tried to steal from me, from his own sister, to cover his debts, his gambling debts probably, or his credit card bills, or whatever other financial disaster he's created this time. It wasn't like that, Derek said, and his voice was panicked now, desperate. We were just going to borrow a little, just to get caught up on some bills. We would have paid it back, I swear. You have to believe me. With what money? I asked. You can't even pay your own bills. You're 3 months behind on your truck. Your credit cards are maxed. You haven't paid rent here in over a year. You don't have a job that pays enough to cover your lifestyle. With what money were you going to pay back $50,000 plus interest? He had no answer. He just stood there, opening and closing his mouth like a fish. And you weren't borrowing, I continued. You were stealing. From me, from Emma, while planning to kick us out. You were literally planning to steal money using my name and then make us homeless. And you know what? If you're listening to this right now, if you've made it this far into my story, I need to ask you something. Help me prove my mother wrong. She said I'd never make it, that sharing stories like mine was pointless, that nobody would care, but I think these stories matter. I think people need to hear that it's okay to stand up for yourself, even when it's family, especially when it's family. So if you're still here, if this story is resonating with you, hit that subscribe button. Show her that our voices deserve to be heard. Show her that standing up against injustice, even when it's hard, is worth it. Because every single one of you matters. Your support means everything. Now, let me tell you what happened next, because this is where things get really, truly interesting. Where I stopped being the victim and became something else entirely. We can fix this, my dad said, and for the first time in what felt like years, he actually looked at me. Really looked at me. Not through me, not past me. At me. Derek, you need to apologize. Right now. I'm sorry, Derek mumbled, but there was no sincerity in it. Just fear. Pure, raw fear. His voice was shaking. His hands were shaking. Jessica, I'm sorry. I didn't mean... I wasn't thinking... Too late, I said. My voice was calm, too calm. The kind of calm that comes right before a storm. I'm calling the police. You wouldn't, Vanessa gasped. Her perfectly manicured hand flew to her chest. Her eyes were wide. For the first time since I'd known her, she looked genuinely scared. Watch me, I said, pulling out my phone. Jessica, please, my mom begged. She was crying now. Real tears. Not the manipulative kind she'd used on me before when she wanted me to babysit or cover for Derek. These were different. He's your brother. This will destroy him. He could go to jail. He could lose everything, his job, his kids, everything. He should go to jail, I said. He committed fraud, identity theft, forgery. Those are serious crimes, Mom. Federal crimes. What do you want? My dad asked, and his voice was different now, desperate, pleading. There has to be something. Name it. Anything. I paused. I hadn't expected that. I'd been so focused on the righteous anger, on the betrayal, on protecting myself and Emma, that I hadn't actually thought about what I wanted. What would make this right, if anything could make this right? I want the truth, I said finally. All of it. No more lies, no more secrets, no more protecting Derek at everyone else's expense. I want to know everything. How long has this been going on? How much money have you really given them? How deep does this go? My mom and dad exchanged a look. One of those long, married couple looks that says 1,000 things without words. Sit down, my dad said. All of you. This is going to take a while. And that's when the real story came out. The story I never knew. The story they'd been hiding for years. Turned out, Derek's financial problems went way deeper than I'd thought. Way deeper. The bankruptcy 5 years ago? That wasn't his first. It was his second. He'd declared bankruptcy at 23, right after college. Why? Gambling debts. $50,000 in gambling debts. My parents paid them off. $50,000 cash from their retirement fund. To keep him out of trouble, to keep him safe. Because that's what parents do, right? They protect their children, even when their children make terrible choices. But it didn't stop there. Because Derek didn't learn. He never learned. 2 years after they bailed him out, he came to them with a business opportunity. A sure thing, he called it. A friend of a friend, had a connection in commercial real estate. They were going to flip properties, quick money, easy money. All they needed was startup capital. My parents remortgaged their house. The house I grew up in, the one they'd owned free and clear for 15 years. They took out a $120,000 loan. Against the house. For Derek's business. It failed within a year. Spectacularly. The friend of a friend disappeared with half the money. The properties they bought were in terrible condition, worth far less than they paid. Derek had no idea how to run a business. No plan, no backup, nothing. They lost everything. The business failed. Derek declared bankruptcy again. And my parents were left with a $120,000 debt and a son who couldn't help them pay it. That's when they had to sell the house. The house I grew up in. The one with my height marks on the kitchen door frame. The one where I learned to ride a bike in the driveway. The one where I had my first kiss on the front porch. Gone. To pay for Derek's mistakes. But they didn't tell anyone. They told friends and family they were downsizing, that they wanted something new, that they were ready for a change. They protected Derek. Again. And that smaller house you bought, I said slowly, pieces clicking into place. The one before this one. That's where Derek and Vanessa moved in? My dad nodded. They said it would just be temporary. 6 months. Just until Derek got back on his feet. Until he found a good job. Until Vanessa finished her nursing degree. But she never finished, I said. She dropped out after 1 semester. She said it was too hard, my mom said quietly. She said she needed to focus on the kids. The kids she doesn't even watch, I said. Because you watch them. Every single day while she goes to lunch with her friends and gets her nails done. No one argued. Because it was true. So Derek and Vanessa lived with you rent-free for 3 years, I continued. 3 years. And then you bought this house, the bigger one. And you needed me to co-sign because your credit was destroyed from Derek's bankruptcy. We didn't want to lie to you, my dad said. But we couldn't tell you the truth. You would have said no. Damn right I would have said no, I said. I would have told you to let Derek deal with his own problems for once in his life. We couldn't do that, my mom said. He's our son. I'm your daughter, I shouted. I couldn't hold it in anymore. All the hurt, all the pain, all the years of being second best. I'm your daughter and you used me. You lied to me. You manipulated me into co-signing so you could keep bailing Derek out. So you could keep giving him money. My money. Money I paid you. Money that was supposed to help me and Emma. We were trying to help everyone, my dad said weakly. No, I said. You were trying to help Derek. I was just a means to an end. A signature on a form. Another safety net for golden boy Derek to fall into. The room was silent except for my mother's crying. Derek was staring at the floor. Vanessa looked like she was calculating whether to run or stay. How much? I asked. Total, over the years. How much have you given Derek? My dad pulled out his phone. He opened his banking app, scrolled. His face got grayer with each swipe. Finally, he spoke, including the retirement fund withdrawal, the remortgage, the monthly cash gifts, approximately $290,000. I sat down. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. $290,000, nearly $300,000, gone, given to Derek, to cover his gambling, his failed business, his lifestyle he couldn't afford. And how much have you given me? I asked quietly. That's different, my mom said. You never asked. Because I didn't want to be a burden, I said. Because I was raised to be independent, to handle my own problems, to not ask for help unless I absolutely needed it. And when I finally did need it, when my husband left and I had nowhere to go, you let me move in. But you resented me for it. You made me feel guilty every single day, while Derek lived here for years, rent-free, without you saying a word. We never made you feel guilty, my mom protested. Are you kidding me? I said. The comments, the looks, Vanessa's constant remarks about me mooching, you letting her talk to me like that, you never defending me, you never standing up for me, because deep down, you agreed with her. You did think I was mooching, even though I was the only one actually paying you. Derek finally spoke up. His voice was small, broken. I'm sorry, Jess. I really am. About all of it. The fraud thing. I was desperate. We're drowning. Vanessa's spending is out of control. My job barely covers the truck payment. We're getting calls from collection agencies 3 times a day. I thought if I could just get enough to catch up. You'd do what? I asked. Suddenly become financially responsible? Suddenly stop gambling? Suddenly tell your wife no when she wants to buy another designer purse? He didn't answer. Derek, I said, and my voice was softer now. Not kind, but not cruel either. Just tired. When are you going to stop? When are you going to look at your life and take responsibility? When are you going to stop expecting Mom and Dad to bail you out? I don't know, he whispered, and at least it was honest. I looked at my parents, at their tired faces, their gray hair. My dad looked so much older than I remembered. When had that happened? When had they become old? They can't keep doing this, I said to Derek. They're going to retire soon. They need their money, they need their house, and they need stability, and you're destroying that. You're destroying them. I know, he said. I know. Do you? I asked. Because from where I'm sitting, you keep making the same mistakes over and over, and they keep cleaning them up, and nothing changes. Vanessa finally spoke. Her voice was quiet, defeated. It's my fault too. I know I spend too much. I know I put pressure on Derek to maintain a lifestyle we can't afford. I wanted my kids to have nice things. I wanted people to think we were successful. Why? I asked. Why does it matter what people think? She didn't have an answer. I looked around the room, at my broken family, at the lies and the debt and the dysfunction, and I realized something. I couldn't fix this. It wasn't my job to fix this. They had to want to change. They had to choose to change. And nothing I said or did would make that happen. Here's what's going to happen, I said. I'm meeting with a lawyer tomorrow. I'm going to find out exactly what my rights are as a co-signer. I'm going to protect myself and Emma legally. That's non-negotiable. Okay, my dad said. And Derek, I continued. The fraud thing. If you stay away from my finances, if you leave me and Emma completely alone, if you never try to use my name or credit or signature for anything ever again, I won't press charges. But if you come near my finances one more time, I will have you arrested. Do you understand? Yes, he said quickly. Yes, I understand. Thank you. Thank you, Jess. I'm not doing this for you, I said. I'm doing it for your kids. They don't deserve to have their father in prison. But make no mistake, Derek, this is your only chance. One more step out of line and I'm done protecting you. He nodded, tears running down his face. And as for moving out, I said, looking at my parents, I'm leaving on my terms. Not because you told me to, because I choose to. Because Emma and I deserve better than this. But I will be working with my lawyer to determine my share of the equity from this house. I put my name on that mortgage. I made payments. I'm entitled to compensation when this house sells. When it sells, my mom said. Yes, I said. When? Because you're going to have to sell. I'm removing myself from the mortgage. You can't refinance without my income, so you're going to sell. And whatever I'm owed, I'm taking. That money is going toward a home for Emma and me, a real home, where she's wanted, where she's loved, where she doesn't have to hear people arguing about whether we deserve to be there. My mom started to cry harder. I know this hurts, I said. I know you don't want to leave this house, but you chose this. Every time you gave Derek money instead of saying no. Every time you prioritized his wants over your needs, every time you protected him from consequences, you chose this. We were trying to help our son, my dad said. I know, I said, but you sacrificed your daughter to do it, and I'm done being the sacrifice. I stood up. I'm going to my room. I need to pack. I need to process this. I need to be alone with my daughter. Do not follow me. Do not knock on my door. Give me space. I walked upstairs. Emma was in her room, playing with her dolls. She'd heard all the yelling, but she was just playing, humming, lost in her own world. The kids are resilient like that. They can find joy in the middle of chaos. Mama, she said when she saw me. Look, I made a house for Dolly. She'd arranged her blocks into a square, put her doll inside, covered it with a blanket. That's beautiful, baby, I said, sitting down next to her. Dolly has her own house, Emma said, so she can be safe and happy. And that's when I broke. Finally broke. The tears came, silent at first, then sobs, big heaving sobs that I couldn't control. Emma climbed into my lap. Mama, why are you sad again? Because sometimes grown-ups have hard days, I managed to say. But I promise you, baby, I promise you we're going to be okay. We're going to have our own house too, just like Dolly, where we can be safe and happy. And can we get a puppy? She asked hopefully. I laughed through my tears. Yes, we can get a puppy. She hugged me, her little arms so tight around my neck, and in that moment, I knew I was making the right choice. Whatever happened next, Emma and I would be okay, because we had each other, and that was enough. The next morning, I met with Lisa at her office. It was a small practice in a renovated house downtown, cozy and professional at the same time. So, she said, pouring us both coffee, tell me everything. I did. All of it. The co-signing, the mortgage, Derek's fraud attempt, the plan to kick me out, my rent payments. She took notes, nodding occasionally, her expression getting more serious as I talked. Okay, she said when I finished. Here's the situation. As a co-signer who's been making payments and residing at the property, you have significant legal standing. If they try to remove you without proper notice, you can sue. If they attempt to refinance or modify the loan without your consent, you can block it. And the fraud attempt? That's a criminal matter, but it also gives you leverage in a civil case. What do you recommend? I asked. Honestly, document everything. Keep copies of all payments. Any text messages, emails, everything. Then remove yourself from the mortgage properly through the bank, which will force them to either refinance or sell. When they sell, you're entitled to a portion of the proceeds based on your payments and the equity you helped build. How much are we talking? She did some quick math on her calculator. If the house is worth $600,000 and they've paid down $50,000 in principal over 3 years, plus your documented payments of $20,000. You could be looking at somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000. I sat back. That was a lot. That was enough for a down payment on my own place. That was life-changing money for Emma and me. What do I need to do? I asked. I'll draft a letter to the bank requesting removal as co-signer due to no longer residing at the property. That triggers a review. I'll also draft a letter to your parents, outlining your legal position and your entitlement to equity. Then we wait and see how they respond. How long? The bank will give them 30 days to refinance. If they can't, the house goes into default and they'll have to sell. The whole process could take 3 to 6 months. And Derek's fraud? That's your insurance policy, Lisa said. If they try to fight you on the equity, you have a criminal complaint you can file at any time. It's leverage. Use it wisely. I left her office feeling lighter than I had in days. I had a plan. I had legal backing. I had a path forward. But first, I had to find a place to live. Saturday morning, Emma and I went to see apartments. The first 2 were terrible. Tiny, dark, in sketchy neighborhoods. The third was better but wanted first, last, and security deposit up front. $5,000 I didn't have. The fourth one, though, was perfect. It was a small 2-bedroom on the 2nd floor of an older building. Hardwood floors, big windows, a small balcony, and out back, a shared yard with a little play area. Mama, look! Emma said, running to the window. There's swings. The landlord, an older woman named Patricia, smiled. My grandkids used to play there. Oh, I keep it maintained for the families in the building. How much? I asked. $1,200 a month, First month and security deposit up front. $2,400. I could swing that with my next 2 paychecks if I was careful. Any pets? Emma asked hopefully. Patricia laughed. Small dogs are fine. $25 pet deposit per month. Emma looked at me with those big brown eyes. We'll take it, I said. We signed the lease that afternoon. Move-in date, 2 weeks from today. When we got back to my parents' house, I felt different, stronger. This wasn't their house anymore. It was just a place I was staying temporarily. Derek was in the living room when we walked in. He looked up nervous. Can we talk? He asked. I looked at Emma. Go play in our room, baby. I'll be up in a minute. She ran upstairs, and I turned to Derek. Oh, make it quick, I said. I'm sorry, he said. Really sorry. About the loan thing, about everything. I was desperate and I made a stupid choice. You made a lot of stupid choices, I said. This was just the latest one. I know, and I'm going to fix it. I got a second job. I'm going to pay Mom and Dad back. I'm going to get our finances in order. Good for you, I said. But that has nothing to do with me. I know you're leaving. Mom told me you found an apartment. I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. And I hope someday you can forgive me. I looked at him, my big brother, the one who used to push me on the swings when we were kids, the one who taught me how to ride a bike. Somewhere along the way, he'd become someone I didn't recognize. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said honestly, but I can move on, and I can make sure Emma has a better example of what family should be. He nodded. That's fair. Derek, I said, get help, real help, not just a second job. Talk to someone about the gambling, about whatever makes you think it's okay to lie and steal from the people who love you, because if you don't, you're going to lose everything that actually matters, and I'm not talking about money. He looked like he might cry. I will. I promise. I went upstairs without another word. The next 2 weeks flew by. I packed. I organized. I bought second-hand furniture from Facebook Marketplace. Emma and I painted her new room, a soft purple that she picked out herself. My mom tried to talk to me a few times. Each conversation was the same: apologies, justifications, promises that things would be different. I listened politely and said nothing. My dad helped me move. It was the least he could do, he said. Derek wanted to help too, but I told him no. Some boundaries needed to be clear. On moving day, Emma and I loaded the last box into my dad's truck. I took one final look at the house I'd helped them buy, the house they'd kicked me out of. You okay? My dad asked. Yeah, I said. I really am. We drove to the new apartment in silence. When we got there, Emma ran ahead, excited to start arranging her room. My dad helped me carry boxes upstairs. When everything was inside, he handed me an envelope. What's this? I asked. Open it. Inside was a check for $10,000. Dad, I can't. Yes, you can, he said. It's not nearly enough for what we put you through, but it's a start. Use it for Emma. Get her that puppy she wants. Buy her new clothes for school. Oh, whatever you need. I stared at the check. Part of me wanted to rip it up, to tell him I didn't need his money or his guilt, but the bigger part of me thought about Emma, about her education fund, about having a cushion for emergencies. Thank you, I said quietly. He hugged me, a real hug, the kind he used to give me when I was little. I'm proud of you, he whispered, for standing up for yourself, for being stronger than any of us. When he left, I sat on the floor of my empty living room and cried. Not sad tears, relief tears. I'd done it. I'd gotten out. I'd protected my daughter. I'd stood up to my family and survived. 2 months later, Lisa called. "The bank approved your removal from the mortgage," she said. "Your parents have 30 days to refinance, or the house goes into default." "Can they refinance?" I asked. Not without your income. They've already been denied by 3 lenders. They're going to have to sell." "And my share?" "Based on the current market value and your documented payments, I'm estimating $42,000. After legal fees, you're looking at about $38,000. $38,000. Enough for a down payment on a real house, with a yard and a fence. For the puppy Emma wanted." The weeks turned into months. Life in our new apartment settled into a comfortable rhythm. Emma started at a new preschool program 3 days a week. I threw myself into work, earned a small raise. We painted Emma's room the purple she wanted. I found a local artist on Facebook who did a beautiful mural of flowers and butterflies on one wall. Emma cried happy tears when she saw it. "It's the most beautiful room in the whole world, Mama," she said, hugging me tight. "You're the most beautiful girl in the whole world," I said back. Patricia turned out to be more than just a landlord. She became a friend. She'd invite us down for cookies. She'd watch Emma for an hour if I needed to run an errand. She told me about her late husband, about how she'd raised 3 kids alone after he died young, about how she'd learned that being strong didn't mean not needing help. It meant knowing when to ask for it. 2 months after we moved in, Lisa called. "The bank processed your co-signer removal request," she said. "Your parents have been officially notified that they need to refinance or sell within 90 days. "How did they react?" I asked. "According to the bank officer I spoke with, not well. They tried to argue that you shouldn't be able to remove yourself, but the law is clear. You have every right. And they can't refinance? They tried 3 different lenders, all denied. Derek's bankruptcy is still on their credit report as co-signers. Combined with their debt-to-income ratio, no bank will touch them. So they're selling. They're selling. The house just went on the market yesterday. It's priced aggressively. Your mom called me, actually." My stomach tightened. "What did she say?" "She wanted to negotiate your equity claim. She offered $20,000. My share is worth at least $40,000. "I know," I told her that. She said money is tight, that they're struggling. I explained that your legal position is solid and that if they want to negotiate, we need to see full financial disclosures. She hung up on me. I laughed. I couldn't help it. "She hung up on you?" "She did, very dramatically. But Jess, I need you to be prepared. This is going to get messy before it's over. Your mom is angry. Your dad is stressed. Derek is panicking because he knows if they can't settle this civilly, you might file charges. They're going to try to paint you as the villain." "Let them," I said. "I know the truth. That's enough." But it wasn't easy. Over the next few weeks, I got calls. First from my mom, crying, begging me to reduce my claim. Then from my dad, trying to reason with me. Then, surprisingly, from Derek. "Jess," he said, "please. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But Mom and Dad are suffering because of me, because of my mistakes. Don't make them pay for what I did." "Derek," I said calmly, Mom and Dad are suffering because of choices they made, repeated choices, to enable you, to protect you from consequences, to use me as a bailout. I didn't create this situation. I'm just refusing to be a victim of it anymore." "I'm trying to change," he said. "I really am. I'm working 2 jobs now. I'm going to GA meetings. I haven't gambled in 3 months." "That's good, Derek. I'm genuinely happy for you, but it doesn't change what happened. It doesn't change what you tried to do, and it doesn't change the fact that I'm entitled to my equity. What if I pay you back? What if I take on the debt myself? I'll pay you back over time. You can't even pay your own bills. How would you pay me back? Silence. Derek, here's the truth. For the first time in your life, you're facing actual consequences. And I know that's hard. But maybe, just maybe, it's what you need. Maybe this is what's going to actually motivate you to change. By ruining our parents, he said bitterly. They ruin themselves, Derek, by choosing to clean up your messes instead of letting you learn. I'm not the villain here. I'm just done being the scapegoat. I hung up. That night, I got a text from Vanessa, a long one, telling me I was heartless, that I was destroying a family, that Emma would grow up without grandparents because of my selfishness, that I was using my daughter as a weapon. I blocked her number. 3 months after the house went on the market, it sold. $615,000. Higher than expected because the market was hot. Lisa called me with the news. After the mortgage payoff and closing costs, there's about $155,000 in equity, she said. I'm pushing for 35%, which would be about $54,000, but I think we can settle at 45. What do they want to settle at? 25. Not a chance. That's what I told them. I have a meeting with their attorney next week. We'll hammer it out. The negotiation took 3 weeks. Back and forth. Offers and counter-offers. Lisa was brilliant. She presented everything. My rent payments. My status as a co-signer. My contributions to the household. The fact that I'd been forced out rather than leaving voluntarily. In the end, we settled at $42,000. Lisa took her fee of $7,000. I walked away with $35,000, tax-free because it was considered equity return, not income. The check came on a Tuesday. I stared at it for a long time. $35,000, more money than I'd ever had at one time in my entire life. That weekend, Emma and I went house hunting. Real house hunting. With a real estate agent and a mortgage pre-approval and everything. We looked at 12 houses over 2 weekends. Emma had opinions about all of them. Too small, too big, wrong color, no yard, scary basement. The 13th house was the one. A small 3-bedroom ranch in a great school district. Fenced backyard, new roof, updated kitchen, everything we needed and nothing we didn't. This one, Mama, Emma said, standing in what would be her bedroom. This is our house. I made an offer that day, $40,000 down payment. The mortgage would be manageable on my salary, especially with Troy now paying proper child support. We closed in 30 days. A moving day was incredible. Patricia helped us pack. She cried when we left. You two changed my life, she said, hugging me. Watching you rebuild yourself, watching you fight for your daughter, it reminded me why I keep doing this, why I keep opening my home to people who need a safe place. Thank you for giving us that safe place, I said. We'll never forget you. Our first night in our house, Emma and I slept on the floor in sleeping bags because the furniture wouldn't arrive until tomorrow. We made s'mores in the fireplace. We told stories. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. Mama, Emma said as we were falling asleep, I'm glad we left Grandma and Grandpa's house. Yeah, I said. Why is that? Because now we have our own house, where nobody can tell us to leave, where it's just us, and soon Scout. Oh, right. Scout. Oh, we'd been approved to adopt from the shelter. We were picking him up next weekend. You're right, baby. This is our house, our home, forever. Forever and ever, she said, and drifted off to sleep. I lay awake for a long time, listening to her breathe, thinking about how far we'd come. A year ago, I was living in my parents' house, paying rent, feeling like a burden, letting my family make me feel small. Now I owned a home. I had savings. I had a plan. I had boundaries. I had self-respect. The revenge I'd wanted, the revenge I'd thought I wanted, wasn't about destroying them. It was about building this life, this peace, this security. 6 months after we moved into our house, Emma started kindergarten. She was nervous the first day. I walked her to her classroom, held her hand, promised I'd be there at pickup. "You're going to make so many friends," I told her, "and you're going to learn so much, and I'm going to be so proud of you." "You're always proud of me, Mama." "That's because you're always amazing." She hugged me and went inside. I cried in the car. Happy tears, proud tears. My baby was growing up. That afternoon, I picked her up. She ran to me with a huge smile, talking a mile a minute about her teacher and the other kids and the books they read and the games they played. Life was good. I kept minimal contact with my parents. They sent birthday cards to Emma, Christmas presents. I let Emma video call them once a month, supervised. The conversations were awkward but civil. My mom tried to rebuild our relationship. She'd text me articles about parenting. She'd send me recipes. She'd ask how I was doing. I responded politely but didn't engage deeply. Maybe someday we'd be close again. Maybe not. I was okay either way. Derek, surprisingly, did seem to be changing. 6 months after everything imploded, he sent me a letter. A real, handwritten letter. He apologized. Really apologized. Not the fake surface-level stuff. He talked about his gambling addiction, about the shame he felt, about how he'd been in therapy, about how he was trying to be a better father, a better husband, a better person. He didn't ask for anything. He didn't make excuses. He just apologized and said he hoped someday I might be able to forgive him. I didn't respond right away. I needed to think about it, to process, to decide if I was ready. A month later, I sent him a text, short and simple. "I appreciate your letter. I hope you continue to get the help you need. Maybe someday we can have a relationship again, but not yet. I need more time." He responded immediately. "I understand. Thank you for even reading it. Take all the time you need. I'll be here when you're ready." That was 6 months ago. We haven't spoken since, but the door isn't closed. It's just paused. Vanessa, on the other hand, I have no interest in ever having a relationship with again. Some people don't change. Some people don't want to change. And that's okay. I don't need her in my life. Life moved forward. I got promoted at work. Emma thrived in school. Scout turned out to be the best dog a little girl could ask for. We made friends in our neighborhood. We built a community. One evening, almost a year after everything happened, I was sitting on our back porch. Emma was inside doing homework. Scout was sleeping at my feet, and the sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink and purple. My phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize, but something made me answer. "Hello? Hi, is this Jessica Reynolds?" A professional woman's voice. "Yes?" "This is Amanda Foster from Women's Advocate magazine. I'm a journalist working on a story about women who've overcome family financial abuse and rebuilt their lives. Your name was referred to me by attorney Lisa Hartman. Would you be interested in sharing your story?" I paused. Family financial abuse? I'd never thought of it that way. But that's exactly what it was, wasn't it? "What would that involve?" I asked. "An interview. We'd keep your full identity anonymous if you wanted. We'd focus on the patterns of financial manipulation, how you recognized it, how you got out, and how you rebuilt. We think your story could help other women who are in similar situations." I thought about all the women out there, all the people who were being used by their families, who were being made to feel guilty for setting boundaries, who were being told that family means accepting abuse. Yes, I said. I'd like to do that. The interview happened 2 weeks later. Over video call. Amanda was kind, professional, understanding. She asked thoughtful questions. She didn't sensationalize. She just let me tell my story. The article came out a month later. They'd titled it, "The Co-Signer's Trap: How One Woman Escaped Family Financial Abuse." It went viral. I got messages from dozens of women, some sharing their own stories, some asking for advice, some just saying thank you for making them feel less alone. One message stood out. It was from a woman named Rachel. "I'm living in my parents' house with my 2 kids. I co-signed on their mortgage 5 years ago. They convinced me to move in after my divorce. They said they'd help me, but now they take all my rent money and give it to my brother for his business. They treat me like a burden. I felt so stuck, so alone. But reading your story gave me hope, gave me courage. I called a lawyer today. I'm getting out. Thank you." I cried reading that. Happy tears, because if my pain could help someone else avoid the same trap, then it was worth it. All of it. That's when I truly understood. Revenge isn't about hurting the people who hurt you. It's about refusing to let them define you. It's about taking back your power, your life, your future. It's about turning your pain into purpose. Emma is 7 now. She's thriving in 2nd grade. She has best friends. She's on a soccer team. She takes art classes on Saturdays. Scout is getting older, a little grayer around the muzzle, but still her constant companion. I'm managing a whole department at work now. I make enough money that we're comfortable. Not rich, but comfortable. We take small vacations. We go to the movies. We get ice cream on Fridays. We have a life that's ours. Last month, I got an unexpected visitor. My dad. He called first, asked if he could come by. I said yes. We sat on my back porch, drinking coffee, watching Emma and Scout play in the yard. "Your mom and I divorced," he said after a while. I hadn't seen that coming. "What? When?" "Last month. Finalized 2 weeks ago." "I'm sorry, Dad." "Don't be. It was the right choice. We couldn't move past everything that happened." She couldn't forgive herself. I couldn't forgive myself. We just kept dragging each other down. We're both better off apart." "How is she?" "She's okay. She moved to Florida, near her sister. She's in therapy, working on herself. She asks about you and Emma. I tell her you're doing well." "I am doing well," I said. "I can see that," he said, looking around at the house, the yard, Emma's laughter filling the air. "You built a good life, Jessica. You did it on your own terms. I'm proud of you. Thank you. I owe you an apology. A real one. Not the panicked, desperate ones I gave you before. I failed you as a father. I chose Derek over you, over and over. I let him drain us financially and emotionally. I let him hurt you, and I convinced myself I was helping, that I was being a good parent. But I wasn't. Yeah, I was enabling an addict and sacrificing my daughter to do it. I didn't say anything. I just listened. Derek's doing better now," he continued. "He's been sober, gambling free for over a year. He's working one job that pays well instead of 2 that didn't. He and Vanessa are separated. She's living with her parents. He has the kids half the time. He's actually being a father, going to their games, helping with homework. He's changed, really changed. But it only happened because he finally hit rock bottom, because we finally stopped catching him." "I'm glad he's doing better," I said, and I meant it. "He wants to apologize to you, in person. Not asking for forgiveness, just to apologize, to take responsibility. Would you be open to that?" I thought about it, really thought about it. "Maybe. Someday. but not yet. I'm not ready. I understand. Just know that the offer stands. Whenever you're ready. We sat in comfortable silence for a while. Can I see Emma? He asked. Just for a few minutes. I miss my granddaughter. Emma, I called. Come here, sweetie. She ran up to the porch, Scout trailing behind. She stopped when she saw my dad. It had been months since she'd seen him in person. Hi, Grandpa, she said shyly. Hi, Emma. You've gotten so big. And who is this handsome fellow? He petted Scout. That's Scout. He's my dog. Want to see my room? I painted it myself. She took his hand and dragged him inside. I followed. She showed him her purple room with the flower mural, her bookshelf full of books, her art supplies, her trophies from soccer. This is amazing, Emma, he said. You have a beautiful home. Mama bought it all by herself, Emma said proudly. She's really strong. My dad looked at me. His eyes were wet. Yes, she is. The strongest person I know. He left an hour later. He hugged me goodbye. I know I don't deserve another chance, he said. But if you ever want to try to rebuild our relationship, I'd like that. No expectations, no pressure, just, I'd like that. I'll think about it, I said. And I meant it. Because here's what I've learned. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. It's about releasing the anger and the bitterness so it doesn't poison your own life. It doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean allowing them to hurt you again. It just means choosing peace over pain. Maybe I'll rebuild relationships with my parents someday. Maybe I won't. Either way, I'm okay. And because I built something they can never take away, a life, a home, a sense of self-worth, a future for my daughter that isn't built on guilt and obligation and toxic family dynamics. Emma will grow up knowing that it's okay to set boundaries. That family isn't an excuse for abuse, that love shouldn't hurt, that she deserves to be treated with respect, always. That's my real victory. Not the house, not the money, not even the satisfaction of proving them wrong. My real victory is Emma, my sweet, confident, happy daughter who will never doubt her worth, who will never let anyone make her feel small, who will know that she deserves to take up space in this world. That's what I fought for. That's what I won. So yeah, my mom kicked me out in front of my 4-year-old daughter. She saw the mortgage papers. She panicked. They all did. But I didn't panic. I planned. I fought. I survived. I thrived. And now, when Emma asks me about Grandma and Grandpa and Uncle Derek, I tell her the truth in age-appropriate ways. That sometimes families make mistakes. That sometimes people need space from each other to heal. That it's okay to love people from a distance. That protecting yourself isn't mean, it's necessary. She understands in the way that children do, simpler, clearer, without all the complicated emotions that adults carry. I'm glad it's just us, Mama, she told me last night at bedtime. You, me, and Scout. We're the perfect family. We really are, baby, I said. We really are. And you know what? She's right. Sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones who hurt you most. And that's okay to acknowledge. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to choose yourself and your child over toxic family dynamics. Real strength isn't about revenge. It's about boundaries. It's about knowing your worth. It's about building something beautiful from the ashes of betrayal. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You just need to believe in yourself enough to take that first step. And when you do, everything changes. The best revenge is building a life so good that what they did to you becomes irrelevant. The best revenge is teaching your children that they deserve better. The best revenge is breaking cycles of dysfunction and choosing peace. Remember, You deserve to be treated with respect. You deserve to be valued. You deserve a life where you're not just surviving, but thriving. Don't let anyone, not even family, convince you otherwise. Your story matters. Your voice matters. You matter. And if you're in a situation like mine was, please know this. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not selfish for wanting better. And you absolutely have the right to protect yourself and your children, even if that means walking away from family. It's not easy. It might be the hardest thing you ever do, but you can do it. You're stronger than you know. And on the other side, there's peace. There's freedom. There's a life that's truly yours. Take that first step. Make that phone call. Talk to that lawyer. Open that bank account. Start planning your exit. You deserve better, and better is possible. I'm living proof.